Aloha and welcome to Knitted Paradise, where the needles are clicking and the yarn is squishy. My name is Lucia, and you can find me on Ravelry and Instagram as Pearl of the Pacific. Today is Sunday, January 18th, and this is episode 58. So welcome to new viewers and returning viewers. Thank you for spending your time with me. I hope it's enjoyable, and I hope you will come back. Today we have a little bit of everything. Okay, not a little bit of everything, but a little bit of a lot of things. So let's jump right in. For Blow the Conch Shell, we have the January Knit Along, which is going splendidly. We have quite a few prizes that have been donated, which has been really nice. So thank you to people who have donated prizes. And I'm always in the market for new prizes. So if you have a new pattern or if you want to just, donate some money, there is a donate button on my website, which is pearlofthepacific.info. If you're on the podcast page, there's a button. It's on one of the sides. I don't know which one it is. So you can donate there, which would go towards shipping and purchasing of prizes. Or if you have some yarn that you want to, destash or whatever, feel free to send it my way. Anything is appreciated. So that's going on. The theme for the January Knit Along, so I got slightly sidetracked, is anything new that you cast on. So it's a cast on knit along. So it's not really a knit along, it's a cast on along. Cast on along. It just sounds funny. Oh well. And yeah, so that's going on till the end of January. And then in February, we're going to do Fix It February, where you can fix anything that you've previously knit, or maybe you stopped halfway because you didn't feel like ripping back and fixing something. So that's going to be the theme for February. So while you are organizing all of your knitting for the new year, and you found that you have all these things that you needed to fix, put them in a pile and get them ready for February. Alright, the next thing I have on my list is I'm doing a small yarn destash. I posted some pictures on Instagram, and I also have them up in Ravelry. If you go to the my stash page and go to the will, sell, or trade part of that, they're there. A couple of them have already been sold, the Spud and Chloe and the Dream in Color Jilly. So those are gone, but the other ones are still available. And yeah, I may destash some more in the near future, so keep looking. I also have my Knit Picks ball winder that I'm selling, and maybe some needles. Those aren't up. Those are the ball winders on Instagram, but the needles aren't. They're just some needles that I'm not overly fond of. They're not bad. They're not broken. They don't snag your knitting or anything. They're not my favorite. And I know other people love certain types of needles, and to each their own, knit with what you like. It's the way to go. I've found what I like, and so I'm, kind of ready to pass along some of the ones that I don't like. Same with the yarn. It's not, bad yarn. It's just yarn that I don't see myself knitting with in the next year. I haven't knit with it in the last year. Some of it I've had for a little while. And anyway, enough about that. Next thing in Blow the Conch Shell is I'm working on some new designs. One is a pair of socks, and one is a cowl, kerchief cowl thing. It's a shawl cowlet. I don't know how you categorize those things. Anyway, if you are interested in test knitting either of those two things, get in contact with me. They're not anywhere. The socks are actually closer. mostly because I'm just doing them off the top of my head. It's basically my recipe for socks, my basic recipe for socks. I will put a stitch pattern in, but in terms of, the toe, the heel, and how I do my cuff and things like that, my gusset and everything, it's just going to be how I do socks, basically. And so at this point, I'm pretty familiar with how I do socks, so that the basics of that are pretty much written up. I just have to figure out the numbers, because I want to release it in different sizes, not just, my size, but because I use it for everyone's socks, basically, because I found that it fits most people. So get in contact with me if you would like to test knit either of those things. I'll probably have one for each size of the socks and maybe a couple people for the cowl. So let me know. All right, on the island, let's get to some knitting. I have been knitting a lot this week, which has been great. Yay for knitting! All right, so let's start with what's on top of the pile over here that I have on the floor. I cast on the, what are these? Business Casual by Tanis, Lavallee, and they are out of Lorna's Laces Shepherd's Sock in Sheridan. And it's this slip stitch diamond pattern. It's a free pattern. It's very easy. Actually, I lied, it's not slip stitch, it's a cable. But it's just like a 1/1 cable, so it's very easy to do without a cable needle. I haven't used a cable needle at all, because if I had to use one on socks, I think I'd drive myself crazy. But it's turning out quite well. They're really quick, which has been nice, because really the only thing you have to do is that 1x1 crossover. And they are written top down, and I put them toe up because that's what I do. So if you want to know my sock pattern that I'm going to be putting out soon, will be toe up, because that's how I do my socks. So those are coming along nicely. Maybe I'll put things over here as I talk about them, and then they will be in the pile. Another thing that I pulled out of hibernation yesterday and did some rows on was my Gryffindor scarf for my husband, actually. Mine's done. And this is his. I think I was here yesterday when I started, so I did another repeat. And so that's been really fun. It's just stockinette. I was talking on the phone with my dad, and I wanted something to knit on that was really simple. I thought, oh, I'll just take that out. I actually wore mine the other day. I had buried it because I knit it to be part of my Ginny Weasley costume, and I had kind of buried it in my clothes because I thought, oh, I'll just wear it for the costume. I'm like, oh, Lucia, you live in a place where it's winter. Why don't you wear this all the time? It's really warm. It's Cascade 220, which is 100% wool. It's not the superwash. It's just Cascade 220. And I think it's Maroon and Goldenrod are the two colors. And they are perfect Gryffindor colors. So it's coming along. It's pretty long. I think it went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 stripes so far. And I think mine has 15. And my husband's a lot taller than me, so I'll probably do his to maybe 17. So I've got a ways to go, but it's just straight stockinette, so it doesn't take very long. So I may keep that out and like in the living room so I see it and, knit on it while we're watching movies or whatever. So I've shoved that in my Kicks and Giggles Harry Potter bag. Oh god, the needles are sticking out everywhere. Go in there. All right. Needle wrangling complete. All right, what else do I have down here besides my water bottle? I started a sweater for me my highly indulgent sweater. This has been on my list or in my queue for a very long time. And I got this yarn at Stitches this summer. And I've just been waiting to cast it on. I got the yarn and I thought, oh, this will be perfect. It's, well, I just show it to you. Stop talking about it. Like, what is she knitting over there? This is Ease by Alicia Plummer. And it's out of Madelinetosh Vintage in the Aora colorway, or that's how I'm saying it, Aora. And it's a slightly, I don't want to say baggy sweater, but it's got a lot of positive ease, a little bit of positive ease. It's meant to be like a sweatshirt kind of thing. And it has an optional turtleneck, which I will definitely be doing. It's not really a turtleneck, it's more of like a cowl neck, I would call it. Because turtlenecks, I feel like they're tight around your neck. I can't deal with those. I cannot deal with the turtleneck. My mom used to wear them all the time. I'm like, how do you deal with, I can't do it. Anyway, but the cowl neck I can definitely do. So it does still stand up, but there's some room there. I just can't have anything that close to my neck all day long. I can do it for like short times, but even if I wear a scarf that's like all tightened up here, like halfway to work, I mean, it takes me like 20 minutes to get to work. Half an hour if the train takes forever. I can't, like, I have to start pulling on it. I just can't deal with things close to my neck. Like, even with my sweatshirts, I'm just, like, pulling them out. Anyway, enough about my weirdness about things around my neck. I finished 2 skeins of yarn, and I've done the waist decreases, and I've started the increases for the hips. And, as I said, I just finished the second thing of yarn, and I think I'm going to do the sleeves now instead of saving them to the end, just 'cause, yeah, so that's that, but I cast this on, I was going through my yarn, as I was saying, I think last episode, and I wound up, I think half of the yarn I have to wind up the other half now so I can knit from it. And it was just calling to me. I was like, Lucia, I really want to cast this on. Lucia, you need to do other things. You have a whole bunch of things that need to be finished. Why are you casting on a sweater that there's no need for? I mean, I have enough warm clothes. I don't really need another sweater, but I've really been wanting this sweater. So I finally just gave in to whatever it was that wanted me to cast this on. And so I took it to work, like just the skein of yarn and some, like a couple things of needles, because I think it calls for a size 10. I actually am doing it on size 9, because that's what I got gauge with. And so I did a swatch. I work with size 10, and then I just like soaked it in the sink with my hands. I just got it really wet. It didn't soak, but I got it really wet, and then kind of like squeezed it out and rolled it in paper towels, and then kind of stretched it out and let it dry. And people are like, what are you doing? They all know I'm a crazy knitter, so, you know, whatever. Me washing swatches in the sink at work. I mean, there's like 20 people that work in my building. Okay, maybe it's 15. I think there's 15. And so it really wasn't a big deal. And then I realized it stretched out too much with the size 10s. And so I went down to size 9, did another swatch, and that was pretty spot on. It was a little off, but not enough to be a problem. And since it's meant to have positive ease, it's not going to be a problem. So that is that sweater. It's nice and like not attached to a ball of yarn at the moment, which is kind of nice. And that is living in my gigantic Silver Shed USA bag that I got from Leading Men Fiber Arts, which is fantastic. Perfect, like sweater size. All right. Actually, just the yarn has been living in that. The sweater itself has been living in about 3 other bags. Because I didn't want to take all of the yarn in the bag. But now that it's getting a little bigger, it's a little harder. Same with my husband's sweater. Let's transition to the other sweater that I really should have been working on when I was working on my sweater. It's my husband's sweater. But that just got too big to take anywhere. I mean, it's now living in a fabric grocery bag because it's so big. And ta-da! It is almost done. This is the Grant Park Pullover by Salena Lee out of Leading Men Fiber Arts, Dramaturg in Darkest Hour. And ta-da! I am on the collar. It's black, so it's hard to see. There, you can kind of see I'm on the ribbing for the collar. And it's got this lovely diamond pattern on the front. Cat has found my yarn. Dangles. I don't know how to show this. You can kind of see the diamond pattern on the front, and then the back is just ribbing. And yeah, so I got it up to the collar last night. And when my husband got home from work, I told him, I was like, here, come over here and try this on. And I said, how much more do you want on the collar? He said he wanted a little bit more. So I'm going to do a little bit more, bind it off. And then as he was taking it off, I realized that I hadn't seamed up the underarms. So I will do that. I totally forgot about them. He's taking it off. And I was like, oh, maybe I should seam those up. So that will probably get done today. All right, back into your grocery bag. I had it in a nice knitting bag, and then I took it somewhere with some other things in this bag. I'm like, oh, this kind of works. Ta-da! All right, I think that's it. Yeah, 2 sweaters and a pair of socks and a very long-term project scarf. And I didn't really work on my cowl thing. I just put it back on the needles that it was supposed to be on. I knit it on size 5s, and then I needed the size 5s for something, so I took them out and just like threaded another, I think it was my size 3s through there. And I said, Lucia, you need to work on the cowl design. Maybe you should put those size 5s back on it, and then maybe you'll work on it. Because I couldn't work on it while the size 5s were in something else. Cores. I'm like, oh, I'll go work on it. No, you can't. It's got size 3s in it. You need size 5s. So, it has the correct needle size back in, which is good. And hopefully I can move forward with that. Alright, so that's it for On the Island. Nothing has set sail. Hopefully, well, that sweater will be done by next week. Maybe both sweaters if they're made of going. Ease is really easy to knit, which is nice. It's really kind of mindless. Although, remember what I was saying last week about how when I learned to knit, I thought, I don't need stitch markers. Well, when I cast on the sweater, I didn't have the stitch markers with me, and I thought, I'll be fine. I'll just count. Bad plan. I think I cast it on twice and didn't do it right. Finally, I thought, you know what? I'm just going to wait till I get home and have some stitch markers and do this right. Yeah, first I think I had 10 extra stitches because I didn't count right. When I cast on, I often put stitch markers every 10 or 20 stitches just so it makes it a lot easier to count. I only have to count till 20 instead of trying to remember, oh, is this 56 or 66? I lose track a lot. I can't count high numbers, especially when there's other stuff going on. That's when I really have a hard time. I'm like, I can count to 20 very easily when there's other stuff going on, but not to like 65 or whatever it was I had to cast on. Anyway, so I learned my lesson. Just take your stitch markers everywhere, especially if you're going to cast on something new that requires a lot of stitches. So stitch markers are a good thing. Don't pretend like you're above them like I did. It didn't work. Alright. Set sail, nothing. On the horizon, I don't think I've done this section for a little while. It's what I'm going to be knitting next. And one of the things I'm going to work on is finishing up a lot of the work in progresses that I have in my bin of whips. I have some that are very, very old and some that are not so very old, all of which need to get finished for various reasons. So that was kind of the selfish thing about casting on that sweater was, like, Lucy, you really need to knit on that, like, other things. But of course, I would rather knit on a brand new sweater, right? Cast on itis, as bad. So I'm really going to concentrate on finishing up those things, mainly because I need the needles from a lot of them, or I need the bag space. What I've been doing recently is putting like 2 or 3 projects in one bag, like one of my bigger ones, just because I don't have another bag. I'm like, well, there's room in that one. I'll shove it in there. I have a lot of bags. They're just full of things that need to get finished. So I'm going to work on finishing up things so that I can have the yarn and the needles back. I mean, not the yarn back, the bag and the needles back to fill with brand new awesome things. So that's one of my goals. The other one is I need to do the dog sweater for my parents' dog, who apparently gets very cold in Hawaii. He has a lot less hair than their last dog. The dog I had growing up when I lived with my parents, that was not well put together. The dog we had when I was growing up was a border collie, and it was a long-haired border collie, and he had a lot of fur. So he was never cold. In fact, I think he was probably fairly warm most of the time. Luckily, they live in the mountains, and it's not super hot. But he was rather fluffy. This dog is not fluffy at all. He has very short hair / no hair, and he's not a hairless dog, don't worry, he's got fur. But he gets cold. So, long story short, I'm knitting a dog sweater. Alright, the other thing that I actually brought out the yarn for is I'm going to be doing the Leftovers cowl, which is by Wendy D. Johnson, which I won the pattern for on the Homespun House with Molly, and which was fantastic. I've had that on my list for a very long time, and now I finally have an excuse to knit it. She's having a knit along in her group right now for Fair Isle, and I know the Dramatic Knits, Callie and Steve, are doing, in February and March, are doing Fair Isle in Tarja knit along. So, some incentive here. I got the pattern for free, and there's 2 knit alongs going on that I can enter it in. So I went through my stash. I was kind of worried that I wouldn't have the right yarn for it. But when I was going through my stash, I realized I have a lot of leftovers of Cascade Heritage, which is pretty much solid. And I have, well, this is a full skein, but like I have some sage, I have this pink, I have black, I've got purple, I've got a little bit of light blue, I've got a full skein of darker blue, another skein of black, this like bluish steely gray, and the one that's making all the noise is this white. I may save for a sweater, and then I've also got this dark blue. So I thought, you know what, I have enough solid colors that at least I have a good base for it, and then, because I also have a ton of variegated leftovers. but I didn't want to use like variegated against variegated, but now I have all these solid colors that I can use to mix with the variegated leftovers that I have. So I've got those all in my gigantic polka dotted Erin Lane bag, which I love. Ta-da! Which has been sitting for a while with a sweater in it that I ended up ripping out over the weekend. And so now I can use the bag for other things. See, I'm getting better. I got the needles out, which actually were the size 9 needles that I needed for the Ease sweater, so which was good. I really, really wanted that sweater at one point, and I was a good way through the back of it. It had this huge cable up the back, and it was beautiful. But then I decided, it's really just not a practical sweater for me, and I'd rather knit something with that yarn that was practical. So that got ripped out, and the needles got used for another sweater, which was fun. Speaking of sweaters, I have a new sweater that I just got today. I got it at the Gap. I did not knit this, and it's like a seed stitch. It's not really a seed stitch, it's like a moss stitch. It's very simple, and it's cotton. It's 100% cotton. Which I looked at the yarn, and I looked at the way it's dyed, and I thought, oh, that's cotton, even before I looked at the tag. But it is a bright, cheery yellow, and I love it, and it's really soft. My friend actually has the same sweater. I saw her with it, I was like, I think I need that sweater. So now we have matching sweaters, which is okay. We have a lot of matching clothes. Sometimes we turn up for choir, and we're wearing the same thing, which is just fine. Anyway, all right, let's see what else I have in my list of on the horizon. Another thing that's been on my list for a while is Little Dragon by Susan B. Anderson, which is an adorable little dragon. I'm really excited about knitting that. I haven't figured out exactly what yarn yet, but it doesn't take a full skein of yarn, and I've got tons of yarn, so I might even knit a few. We'll see. The other thing I'm going to knit is Lentilia by Martina Baim, and I do have some yarn picked out. It's some green, yellow, and gray variegated, which will go well with this sweater. See? I was thinking, she wore hers today, and I thought, what can I wear with that sweater? Oh wait, that new shawl that I'm going to knit myself, that'll go well with that sweater. There's a lot of things I own that will go with this sweater, so that's my plan. I usually buy clothes that go with things that I have, so, that's the reason you get things, right? Anyway, I'm a lot of tangents today. All right, the other thing that I have, other things that I have on my list is Static Zing, which is a new pair of socks by Megan Williams, and I'm really excited for that one. It calls for, I think, either a variegated or a self-striping and a solid. So I'm really excited to find some yarn in my stash for that. Not sure what I'm going to make that out of yet, but I will find something. The other thing I have on my list is Pebble Beach Shawlette by Helen Stewart, and I have this gorgeous gradient of yellow to purple yarn that I got from Knit Circus at Stitches that I think I'm going to use for that shawl. I've been kind of savoring it to see what I want to knit with it, but that shawl's also been on my list for a long time, so I think that's what's going to happen. Let's see, I didn't get anything from the mainland. I stopped at the library today to see if they had any new knitting books, and I picked out a few, and then I went down to the counter and found out that my library card is a year over expired. So I need something with my current address on it, which I didn't have because my driver's license has my previous address. I haven't updated it yet. And because we were moving so much, I thought, I'm not going to go update this unless I have to renew my driver's license. No one wants to go to the DMV if they don't have to. So I have to renew my card before I can get the books. Kind of frustrating, but It's okay. They put them on hold for me, so I don't have to go back and get them off the shelf. I can just go back and say, hey, I'm the one who wanted those ladybugs. So, that means there was nothing from the mainland. But I do have some from my Hale, which I have hiding behind my computer, which by some miracle the cat has not knocked down yet. So, I've got a few things. It's funny because I can't see them. I'm just grabbing at things. Alright. So the first thing I wanted to show was my Lego TARDIS. I was watching some Doctor Who last night. I started watching season 5 again. And, which is fun. I'll probably watch some more tonight. I have not been able to watch season 8, the second half of season 8 with the new Doctor, because I don't have BBC America, and there's really nowhere else I can figure out how to watch it unless you'd pay for it. I know like Amazon Instant Video had it, but you had to pay for it. I'm like, if I already pay for Amazon Prime, why should I have to pay extra to watch videos? It just seemed kind of silly to me. So don't tell me anything about the new Doctor. I haven't seen it yet. I'm excited to watch it when I can find a way to watch it. But for now, I'll go back and watch my favorite Doctor, who's the 11th. So this is my Lego TARDIS that my husband made for me. There is not actually a set for Doctor Who. I know that their Lego is considering doing some Doctor Who sets, which would be fantastic, but they haven't officially announced it yet. So for the meantime, I will take this. So my husband designed and built this for my birthday last year. It was 2 years ago. It was a while ago. Anyway, so this is my little Lego TARDIS. And it's scaled to be minifigure size, which is what most of their sets are scaled to be. And we are planning on getting some tiles here, or probably not stickers, but like engraved things that say, you know, police public call box and things. We just haven't done it yet. But I think it's pretty ingenious. And it is hollow inside. I've got some things in it. I think I've got Rory's Roman outfit in there. So I will show you. I also have some of the characters that he made to go with it. So of course we have, they're sitting on a bench, so I'm going to take them off to show you. The 11th Doctor with his bow tie. Very nice. And here's Amy Pond. And here is regular Rory. I think we need to find a better face for Rory, but. And then we have River Song. So those are my little Lego characters for Doctor Who. Oh, I also have Clara. Whoops! Rory went down! Here is Clara. Sassy Clara. So, she's just making a sassy face. So, those are my Doctor Who characters. And they all live on this bench. I got one of their like spring sets or something. Ooh, your hair is all over the place, Doctor. And it comes with this bench and a tree. I had it on my desk at work with the TARDIS. So they just kind of all sit on this bench. It just keeps them together so the cat doesn't knock them everywhere. It's pretty much how things are in this house. Any little Lego figures have to be attached to something so they don't go anywhere. So, I'll put those back behind the computer. And the other thing I wanted to share that is also Lego, I made a little Lego figure of my D&D character, Dungeons and Dragons, for those of you who do not know. And here she is. This is Sora. It's the name of my character, and she carries a bow and arrow and a magic sword. And she just kind of randomly put together. I was sitting having breakfast one morning, and I was like, oh, I need a figure for my character for our gaming thing tonight, because I didn't have one yet, and so I kind of put her together. But she has dark black hair, and she wears a dress. I didn't want her to wear one of the Lego dresses because it wasn't practical. So I found this little skirt thing, and she's got some padded armor there. I stole from like some Japanese samurai lady. So that's Sora. And then that night my boss had a ton of figures, little miniatures, and I ended up finding one for Sora. So I still need to paint it, but so she's still got her magic sword, and she's got a bow and arrow on her back, some arrows, and a big flowing cape. So I need to paint that to match her, but that's what I have for now. It worked. It was pretty fun. And so that's it, I think, for today. Looking at the rest of my list. The other thing is I keep the bottom of my show notes, I keep a list of resting in the hammock, which are pretty much all of the works in progress that I had at one point and haven't worked on them in a while. So they kind of stare at me at the end of every episode. They work on me, work on me. I keep them there so that if I do end up pulling them out, like the Gryffindor scarf, I don't have to re-find all of the information and type it all out again. I can just copy and paste it for each week. But that list is getting kind of long. It's kind of glaring at me. One of them is the sweater garland that I only knit 2 out of the 4 sweaters, and I really want to knit a third one. I just need to find some yarn, and then I'll count that as done. I don't really want to do all 4, but I do want to do that cabled one. I think that would be really cool. So maybe I'll get that done this week, along with my other 2. Maybe it'll just be a sweater knitting week. We'll see. I'll finish my husband's sweater, work on mine, and do a tiny one. Speaking of tiny sweaters, I just found out that my brother-in-law and his wife are on the way to the hospital to deliver my nephew, which is really exciting. Yay! It's their second child, and his name is going to be Gregory. So send some positive thoughts for Gregory and the family, and hope that all goes well. I'm about to call my mother-in-law to see how things are going, and because I don't want to call my brother-in-law, sister-in-law, because they're probably a little busy, having a baby and whatnot. But I think my mother-in-law will have the update, so that's really exciting. So next on my list is to make some toys for all the kids in my life. I need to finish my gelato giraffe for my cousin's son, who just turned 1, and my my other nephew from my husband's sister I think is about to turn 1 or just turned 1. So they need some stuffed toys, some knit stuffed toys. So I'm going to be working on toys. Add it to my list of long thing, but that's kind of been in the back of my mind, is to knit toys for all of the little kids in my family. So, and there's about to be a third one, at least my nieces and nephews. I've got one niece and about to have 2 nephews, and then my cousin just had a baby a year ago. So, I need to knit some toys. All right, well, I'm rambling, so I'm going to say goodbye. Hope you all have a pleasant week. The sun just went down here, so it feels like nighttime even though I just got home a little while ago. So I've got some things to get done, including finishing that sweater, my husband's sweater, not my sweater. I'm going to finish his sweater before I continue on mine. It's so close. It's so close. I just want to finish it. So, have a great week, and I will see you all soon, and post some pictures in the group or participate in the chat thread. The chatter thread has been quite active this time, which is really nice. It's not always very active. So, have a great week. Bye.